have the employees to do that. And it all goes back to policy. It is another unintended consequence of way too much money thrown at this economy.
Do you think that has there been a fundamental shift in the workforce after the pandemic? Are we looking at something that is not a blip and not going to get fixed once the $300 goes away?
Well, I do. I think that right now, given that people have had a year and a half to assess their lives and the way they want to approach work, they've come to it differently. So I do think there is a fundamental shift. I think increasingly you will see hybrid situations where some people are in the office, others are in the office half the time, because they've recognized that they are able to do more by being at home and working that way. So yes, I do. I think that there has been a fundamental shift. It will change the way we approach work, and the more money being thrown at people, encouraging them to ask. Now wage increases, which is definitely happening because businesses are needing to lure employees back, but that money is being eaten up because the price of everything we buy is higher. Inflation, of course, is being called transitory by the Federal Reserve. We're going to hear more about that in 2 weeks' time when they had their Jackson Hole meeting. But many business owners, including J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, do not believe and agree with the Federal Reserve that it's transitory. They think that this has actually created a change which is long-term. We are feeling inflation on many fronts. It begins with that wage inflation. Wages are higher, but it transcends through all of the things that we're buying, kitchen table stuff.
Absolutely. Maria Bartiromo, thank you. Of course, 2 weeks' time, we'll hopefully get an answer. Thank you.
We will.
25 past, an alarming spike in shootings and murders in the affluent Atlanta neighborhood of Buckhead. We'll talk to the man leading the charge to break away from that city, but will that be enough to curb violent crime? Plus, careful what you wish for. Senate Democrats spending trillions of your tax dollars. They hope to anyway. Two big bills expected soon. Will they pass? Don't know. Why Newt Gingrich says Chuck Schumer and company will only hurt themselves. He's next.
Zach? Zach?
You mean Jack?
Hey, Ellen.
Hey!
Your name?
Tim. At the Cincinnati Insurance Companies, we know how hard you work to make a name for yourself.
Chad.
That's why we operate on a first name, first priority.
Hey, Beth.
First to be there for you basis. Because your name is what you stand for.
Tim, good to see you.
And at Cincinnati Insurance, we stand for you.
Every customer has their own Safe Light story. This Cubs camping adventure SUV is always there with them. So when their windshield got a chip, they wanted it fixed fast. They drove to Safe Light Auto Glass for a guaranteed same-day in-shop repair. We repaired the chip before it could crack, and with their insurance, it was no cost to them.
Really?
That's service you can trust when you need it most.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
In Afghanistan, August 9, 2011, I was injured by an IED. In the mud wall that I was climbing over, I was the unlucky one to get hit. Luckily, I was the only one in my squad to get hit. When I first got there, it was a lot of down, depressed. I just beat myself up because I thought I was done for.
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Tunnel to Towers honors these heroes by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
This house is going to impact my life a lot. I'm going to be more independent, able to get in cabinets, cook, shower without any hassle. I owe the organization.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
USAA is made for the safe pilots. For Mac, who can come to a stop with barely a bobble. Lucia, who announces her intentions even if no one's there. And Sergeant Moore, who leaves room for her room. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. Get a quote and start saving. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
So we're getting reports now. Churchill, Tennessee. This is north of Johnson City, Tennessee, on the map there, right near the Kentucky-Virginia border. Here is what we're hearing. Police are on the scene. They confirmed several units have arrived there. Not a lot of additional details after that. This is considered the first full day of school, although officially it's the second day of the school, but the first full day. They were in class yesterday for about half a day. So here is what we're reading. There's been an emergency situation at Volunteer High School. Out of an abundance of caution, all schools in that district have been placed on lockdown. The major concern at this time is so stay clear of the area. Then an update came a short time prior to that. We're currently under lockdown. The perimeter is secure. Do not attempt to come to the school. Parents may go to Mount Carmel National Guard Armory for reunification. Reunification is one of these things that we've come to learn now with school shootings and situations at school where they allow the parents to go to a place that is near the school but not at the school to be reunited with their kids. Final comment here. Stay in your vehicle, wait for your child to be brought to you is what the school is telling us now. So when we get more on that, we'll bring it to you. It's breaking news. Church Hill, Tennessee at about 9:32 East Coast time.
And with the U.S. now averaging 100,000 new COVID cases every day, hospitals in the hardest hit areas are feeling the strain. As emergency rooms and intensive care units are filling up with unvaccinated patients. Jonathan Seri is following this story for us. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Dana. The numbers are staggering. Nearly 50,000 people are currently hospitalized with COVID-19 in the United States. That figure is up 27% from last week. And the numbers are similar to what we saw during the fall wave of COVID cases in early November of last year. Some standalone emergency rooms have had to shut down so that nurses and doctors can move to hospital COVID wards. And other hospitals that are already filled to capacity with COVID patients are diverting ambulances to less crowded facilities. Much of this is avoidable because the vast majority of hospitalized COVID patients are unvaccinated. Many people holding off on vaccinations say they're waiting for the FDA to give full approval to COVID shots, something that is expected to happen by early September. But Dr. Anthony Fauci says these vaccines have already been given to hundreds of millions of people worldwide and been proven safe and effective.
You should consider this as good as fully approved and get vaccinated. The idea that I'm waiting for some magical imprimatur to come on it, it's going to happen. Guaranteed it's going to happen.
Now, Dr. Fauci says you have to crush this virus through vaccination. He says if you allow it to continue to circulate among unvaccinated populations, it's not going to sit there and smolder. It is going to eventually mutate, continue to mutate, and the fear is it will eventually mutate into a form that is resistant to current vaccines. Dana?
All right, Jonathan Seri, thank you so much.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer releasing the fine print of the Democrats' $3.5 trillion spending plan. As another $1 trillion infrastructure plan rolls towards passage in the Senate, that could happen at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Watch it for you. Newt Gingrich writing at FoxNews.com. Here's the headline. Dems' unified decision to pass a $3.5 trillion bill as inflation soars is political suicide. Make the case. Former House Speaker, Fox News contributor is with me now. How you doing, sir? Good morning to you. I will read from your piece.
I'm doing well.
Yeah, the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill is $27,000 for every American. There is no way an already bloated, inefficient, theft-ridden bureaucracy can spend it intelligently. The Democrats simply can't stop themselves. That tells me how you feel. Go ahead and make your point.
Well, let me start with the story you just had. As Dr. Fauci points out, we have hundreds of millions of cases now where people have been vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. Callista's been vaccinated, and the Food and Drug Administration still hasn't approved it. Now, how stupid does the FDA bureaucracy have to have this huge worldwide proof that it's safe, and yet clearly some people are not getting vaccinated because they're waiting for the government? And that's typical of what we're seeing. In California, $32 billion was stolen from the unemployment fund. In Washington State, $900 million was stolen from the unemployment fund. The notion that an unreformed bureaucratic system that is incompetent, is ridden with corruption, and is incapable of functioning is now going to get $3.5 trillion. Tell that ideology is defeating reality. We need to reform government more than we need to pay more for it. We need to reform the Pentagon more than we need to pay more for it. And yet the rush is always, you can write a bigger check. Why? Because you're writing it on your grandchildren. All of this money is phony. None of it's covered by taxes. Even the infrastructure bill was very disappointing to see the Republican senators basically cave on whether or not the bill would be fully paid for. It's apparently $250 billion unpaid for. They still voted yes. And I think it's just Washington is totally out of touch with the real world.
We'll see if it passes in the Senate, it looks like it. Don't know what happens in the House. Frankly, I don't know what happens with $3.5 trillion. I don't know if you can get enough moderate Democrats on the House side to go for that. And I'm looking at the calendar. If it doesn't happen this year, it probably won't happen. And because you're going into an election year in 2022, and if that's the case, then Christmas is your deadline. Maybe to that deadline, but it looks like that. Go ahead.
Well, you have Democratic Secretary of the Treasury, Larry Summers, who's a PhD in economics, was economics, said publicly to his fellow Democrats, this is crazy. You're going to create so much inflation. You're reinventing the Jimmy Carter economy, except it's going to be worse. And I think you had $3.5 trillion on top of $1.2 trillion on top of all the COVID emergency bills that were passed last year. You are flooding the system with paper. You're not flooding it with new goods. You're not flooding it with new services. And in fact, you're sending out so much cash that there are millions of people who aren't going to go to work because the government's taking care of them. This is an invitation to an economic disaster. And the people who are going to catch the blame are called Democrats because they're doing it. So I think 2022 and 2024 could become a total disaster for a Democratic Party that combines socialism and radicalism and inflation all in one pack.
Got the soundbite queued up. We'll go ahead and listen to it. Here he is. Summers. Larry Summers, you mentioned. Watch. Listen.
I think we are courting that risk, which would come with very serious political and economic consequences. I don't see the Delta as making me feel better about inflation. If anything, it may be making me feel a little worse.
All right, so that's Summers. He's been on that for a year right now. AOC, the problem is we're not doing the right messaging. Here's what she said on CNN last night.
If we aren't communicating with the public what our policies are, if we aren't educating the public about the opportunities that are available.
The problem is the message, not the $3.5 trillion.
I hope AOC can balance her personal checkbook better than she can balance the federal checkbook, because the truth is she's part of the group leading us to an economic disaster of stagflation with high unemployment, high inflation, and a bureaucracy that doesn't work.
Oh, let's see if they get it in the end. Nice to see you again, Mr. Speaker. Newt Gingrich, thanks for coming on.
Good to see you.
You've been warned. All right, journalists getting called out for their coverage of climate change have reporters made this just a one-sided issue. Jerry Baker has some strong words on the media coverage of all this. He's next.
This program is brought to you by Progressive, comparing rates to help you save. Now that's Progressive.
Riders, wanderers on the road of life. The journey is why they ride. When the road is all you need, there is no destination.
I'm actually just going to get a nice coffee.
Well, she may have a destination this one time, but usually...
I usually have a destination.
Yeah, but most of the time, her destination is...
Nope, it's just the coffee shop.
No matter why you ride, Progressive has you covered with protection starting at $79 a year.
Because she's a biker.
Please don't follow me in.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and now with 2 new flavors. Dry eye symptoms keep driving you crazy? Inflammation in your eye might be to blame.
Let's kick Ken's ache and burn into gear.
Over-the-counter eye drops typically work by lubricating your eyes and may provide temporary relief.
Those drops will probably pass right by me.
Xiidra works differently, targeting inflammation that can cause dry eye disease.
What is that? Xiidra?
Day dry eye.
Veteran homeowners, if you're ever going to use your VA home loan benefit to get cash, now is the time. Because interest rates are near record lows and home values are at record highs. The New Day 100 VA cash out loan lets you borrow 100% of your home's value. And you could take out $50,000 or more. Pay down high rate credit cards, improve your home, or just give your family the security of having cash in the bank.
Call 1-877-912-2778.
Here we go.
See Disney's Jungle Cruise. It's time to rock the boat, America.
And welcome back to Guess the Price. Sal, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a retired postal worker.
Okay, Johnny, tell him about Eargo.
These top-of-the-line hearing aids from Eargo are straight out of the future. They're rechargeable and virtually invisible in your ears.
Okay, Sal, how much do you think they cost?
Oh, gee, I don't know. $5,000?
Well, actually, for you, they don't cost anything.
Holy heck.
That's because federal employees, retirees, and their families can get these life-changing hearing aids at no cost.
Holy heck.
And you don't need to visit a doctor to get them. They ship right to your home and come with light remote support. Convenient, right?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Eargo 5 is here, our latest device that allows you to personalize your hearing experience. Get yours today. And if you're an active or retired federal employee, you may qualify to get Eargo at no cost to you.
Our retirement plan? Well, our advisor chooses mutual funds he likes and invests in them. Simple as that.
Yeah, he knows about this stuff.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. A bunch of mutual funds is not a retirement plan. Mutual funds often have layered fees, cost more in taxes, can leave you over or under diversified, and aren't tailored to your specific goals. You may retire, but you can do better. Do you know the downsides of mutual funds or what other options are available? Call Fisher Investments for your free copy of 6 Pitfalls of Funds. We'll also send you a definitive